Don't think they're not going to go for broke. They know America's waking up. They're going to pull something. Everybody can see it. Everybody can feel it. We know the MO, the history of these people. So do you have your eyes peeled? What's your gut tell you is coming next? That's what we're talking about right now, the next big event. Or what do you think the big events of 2015 will be, or in the last month coming up of 2014? Let's talk to Slim in Canada. Slim, what's your view?
My view is I think they're going to come out of left field with this one. They came at us with 9/11, and we didn't expect that. So I think they're going to give us something unexpected. It's nothing to do with ISIS, nothing to do with Ebola, nothing to do with all the stuff that they're trying to scare us. What they're doing is they're basically priming us to put us in a state of fear, which for me personally isn't working. But they want to do something that's completely out of the box, I'm thinking. And it's going to be something like, I think it's going to be health related. I mean, you could see that they're upping the bioengineering or whatever, geoengineering. These days you see a lot more planes in the sky.
Well, that's what Obama said. He said this is a trial run for something airborne much worse. And it is. This whole Ebola thing is a trial run. Can they order the media to lie and cover stuff up? And will they go along with the order to stand down? And clearly, yes, the media is now ready to jeopardize themselves and the entire future of this nation and the world by being subservient, supine, horribly demonic lapdogs nesting on the chest of this corrupt system.
Well, they don't call it paid programming for nothing. We're the ones who are trying to be programmed. That's the key. I mean, they're trying to program us. We're not watching program. We're being programmed. So, I mean, the media is going to try and spin it to the sheep as much as they can and try and put their spin on it and put us, like I said, put us at a left field, just like they did with all the other false flags. I mean, we just found out that here in Canada that the one that we had here was completely a false flag. I mean, the guy turns out wasn't even, I mean, there's some cases that are showing that the guy wasn't even a Canadian citizen, let alone a guy in the military.
Well, I'll tell you how it's false flag. Major Hassan that shot and killed 13 people, wounded huge numbers of others. For 2 years, the CIA was watching him, talking to the supposed head of al-Qaeda, Awlaki, and they declared national security on those emails, never told the Army, knew he was going to do it and let him do it. Just like they've helped fund al-Qaeda to attack Assad, they turn around, run into Iraq, grab the oil fields, and then go, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? They're false flagging us in front of us. False flags don't mean the government carries the attack out every time. Sometimes they just fund the nutbags and then open the door for them to do it. Great point. So you're looking for biological terrorism or staged al-Qaeda terrorism in 2015 so we learn to worship our captors. Let's go to John in Wisconsin, formerly Wisconsin, FEMA Region 5. Thanks for holding her on the air.
Yeah, Alex, how you doing today?
Good, brother. What do you think the next big shoe to drop is?
I don't know. I think this whole thing about the XL pipeline is like a hoax, and we're being played because you notice that all the Democrats are against it, and they're just pushing against the Republicans and this, that, and the other thing. And when in reality, it has no benefit to us. We're not getting any of the oil. We're not getting anything to do with that except, it'd make more jobs down in New Orleans loading the ships. That's about it. And all it's going to do, I think, is to further the North American Union.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with you that most of our Western oil gets loaded on ships and sent to China at lower prices than we get, sold to the government at lower prices. They mark it up at higher prices than what we pay. I'm not disagreeing with you, but if you're talking about the Keystone, they built a $3 billion refinery in Corpus Christi that the federal government's been not letting them open for years. We haven't had one new refinery since like 1981, and this is economic sabotage. And then George Soros, who financed, along with Berkshire Hathaway, the feds not letting the Keystone get activated, they own the railroad. You can look this up. This is in Forbes, AP, you name it, that then transships from the middle of Canada and the east of Canada all the way over to the west to the super tankers to go to China and Japan. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, because I don't understand. You're saying you don't think the Keystone Pipeline will give us oil?
Well, I haven't heard any of that coming from any politician's mouth or anything. The thing is that are we going to be able to buy the gas for what they're selling it to China for, which is probably
No. No, I mean, obviously they're going to sell most of it to foreigners because they'll look. All I know is we need to be energy dependent, and Obama and others have been trying to block that for a long time. And if George Soros doesn't want the pipeline, I mean, why shouldn't we have a pipeline to bring Canadian oil down here? I mean, that's all I'm saying is more oil means cheaper prices. And I know they're blocking that refinery. Now, they're saying that refinery may produce gas as well and sell refined gas. So who knows? We'll see what happens. I appreciate your call. You know, I just kind of default. When George Soros is for something, I'm against it. He's for taking my guns, I'm against it. He's for open borders, I'm against it. He's for attacking the family, I'm against it. He's for decriminalizing marijuana, I'm for it. But then him being for it makes me question my judgment. I don't know. Let's go to Maggie in Oklahoma. What do you think the next big shoe to drop is in 2015?
I think that our Justice Department has totally become corrupt, and the fact that it has is going to hit the fan very soon.
I totally agree with you. I think that the reason government acts like we don't exist anymore is they know that with derivatives and economic indicators being collapse level, no way to hold up the house of cards. It's like having a house of cards in your backyard on a still day on a card table. But you know, even though it's a still day, a gust of wind will come by sometime that day and knock those cards over. And a watch pot never boils, but you're going to be looking out the back window, the kitchen window, and those cards are going to be laying all over the ground. And most experts we interview think the big collapse is in 2015. And I want to be clear. I'm not a voyeur for disaster. I'm not a collapse porn consumer. I hope this doesn't happen. I hope we can mitigate and have a soft landing. But the globalists are only accelerating things that will make the collapse worse. And we see government gearing up for collapse everywhere. What else do you think?
That this gust of wind has a name on it, and his name is Schaefer Cox. Schaffer.
Who is that?
He is a young man that was thrown into jail 2 years ago.
Well, I'll tell you what, send me some info, man, because I'm not aware of what you're getting into. Thank you. Chris in Pennsylvania, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that Americans are going to wake up on a massive scale, and we're going to get big government out of our lives and start ruling ourselves again like we were supposed to. And we're going to hold these criminals responsible for their crimes against humanity and take the info they have on how the world really works, on who we really are, free energy technology, and we're going to become free and prosperous again and show the rest of the world how to do it, and we'll live to be 200 years old and colonize space and explore the galaxy.
Sounds good to me. You know, I know this. It's innovation that gets dead economies going, and the globalists are doing everything they can to give lip service innovation, but blocking it. And it is going to be freer energy, free energy. It's going to be things like that they're suppressing that would be the next, just like the silicone revolution, that'll be our next boom. Anything else, Chris? God bless you. Steve in Florida, what do you see as the next big event or globalist staged event? I like the last caller because he was raising the point of a huge awakening happening in 2015, accelerating the awakening we've already seen.
Alex, I agree with Slim earlier. I believe they would like to initiate the Model States Emergency Health Powers Act nationwide with mass vaccinations and perhaps a financial collapse. And I've not spoken to you since 99 or 2000, but I just met a young man just a week or two ago who placed Alex Jones InfoWars billboards in 13 major U.S. cities. I just saw one a week ago, and I'll name the cities if you wish.
Yeah, I'd like to meet the young man that did it and find out more and get other people to step up and do this. Yeah, tell us about it.
Here's the cities: Richmond, Virginia; Raleigh, North Carolina; Columbia, South Carolina; Pensacola, Florida; Birmingham, Alabama; Gulfport and Jackson, Mississippi; Knoxville, Tennessee; Shreveport, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and Lake Charles, Louisiana; and Little Rock, Arkansas. He spent this money, his own money, because unless Americans wake up now, the nation is finished. He told me that to my own face. I've followed and supported and prayed for you for 20 years. I'm going to continue, and I want to encourage you, never give up and always stay close to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Steve, don't hang up. I recognize your voice. I mean, you were calling like 18 years ago, and I haven't talked to you in over a decade. You used to call all the time. It's great to talk to you, buddy.
Same here. I've been dealing with Gulf War syndrome, and a lot of the former Navy SEALs with whom I served, and a lot of the Marines, they've died. But I continue to stay vigilant for our Lord and to support you.
That's right. I remember all the great intel you used to give us back on what was happening when they ordered the Marines. Remember, it was even in the newspaper to tell the kids, Bill Clinton wants you to know what martial law is like. Remember that?
Yes, exactly.
Wow, I remember. Yeah. So
I just want to encourage everybody listening. I've passed out thousands of flyers with InfoWars over the years. I just don't know who picked them up or whatever. I passed them out to people. I just thank the Lord that I had that ability. Now I'm pretty much too sick with Gulf War illness to do much except get on this phone and encourage anybody else that has legs and a brain to perhaps do a little bit or a lot, like this young man. $40,000 he spent of his own money because of what you've been doing for 20-plus years, encouraging folks out here to do it.
Well, let me know who this young man is. He needs to get in touch with us because there's all these businessmen and women and successful folks that we should create a database of stations, and then they can help put billboards up in those areas. Billboards are very inexpensive now because the economy is in so much trouble. So you can really get huge billboards that would have cost $10,000 15 years ago for like $1,000, including the printing. And it would be, and I think InfoWars isn't perfect, but it's one of the better things to promote. And absolutely, that's the reason we keep exploding is people like that. But yeah, this fellow that called in used to give me a lot of intel on special forces stuff. All of it turned out to be accurate. And just God bless you. Let's talk to Ken in Illinois. Ken, you're on the air. Thanks for holding.
We're all aware of these Chinese cities, empty cities that could hold tens of millions of people, and it doesn't make sense. Well, what if those cities are prepared for debtor's prison for American debt slaves? And the plan has been in the works for decades, and here's the basis for that. Before the Federal Reserve, which we know is private cartel evil, there was an act during the Grant administration called the District of Columbia Organic Act of 1871, which bifurcated a human into a public persona and a private person. So there's Alex Jones, private person.
And there's Alex Jones, the corporate fiction.
The corporate fixture, and we are debt chattel to American debt.
No, it's true. I mean, they do sell us as an IMF World Bank commodity. It's true.
Right. So what if there's, maybe it starts out voluntary. There's jobs in China, but what if it ends up being compulsory and we end up...
By the way, sir, they've already are bringing debt prisons back in Illinois and places illegally, but the judges and courts are just doing it. And they're already doing bail-ins where they grab part of your bank account all over the world. So, you know what? Used to, I'd laugh at you. The sky's the limit. I mean, there's no telling what they're going to pull. They already claim that the average American owes something like $200,000 on the national debt. I don't owe that money. I'm already paying more than half. I mean, it's a total scam. I hear you. What else do you think's coming?
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, some people say, I think it was Harry Dent yesterday, talked about investing in RV stock. I'm afraid of once the collapse hits, it's going to be so frightening that we're all going to perish from fear.
I agree with you. I've got an RV, but it's too big, and I think I'm going to get rid of it and just get a quick, super reliable small one for just that type of scenario. Excellent point, sir. Thank you so much for joining us, calling in. Indigo Kid, then Ron in Hawaii. You're calling from Colorado. What do you think the big event is in 2015?
Well, weather modification is something I'm looking at right now quite a bit. For example, I sent you an article that I've written about how the Colorado flood of 2013 was due to cloud seeding. And there's even a CBS News article out about how cloud seeding is being used by the government to fight the drought that's going on. And basically, you'll have to read the article, but it's really all about water wars and tactical droughts and how big cities like Los Angeles and Las Vegas are paying for Colorado, for example, the cloud seed year long, which causes flooding. It's dangerous with all the...
Well, that's right. There's massive declassified global from Africa to the Middle East to Asia to Russia to Europe, the U.S., to Central and South America. international, UN, Department of Energy, private corporate. Bill and Melinda Gates get paid billions a year to their private consortium to run a bunch of this over us. That's declassified, but what they're doing is classified. Then you tell the average person, they look at you like you got 14 heads. That's a great point. What about weird weather? What about going into an ice age? What about you know, all the changes we see going on, and then no one's discussing that it's weather warfare? Doug Hagman, your take on that?
Well, I'll say this to the caller: think bigger. That's one spoke in the wheel of global tyranny, the weather modification. However, it's an important one. Water wars in the West. I understand that. We understand that. It's about the control, ultimate control over everything. See, it's now coming to a head, as we can see. Really, that's my answer. And it's interesting because as we sit here in our studio today, 50 miles from us, people can't even get out of their doors because of the level. I mean, snow up to the top of the doors in Western New York. You know, and we had weather oddities here. I guess, and you take that, yeah, it's all part of the globalist plan.
But see, that's how they cover up the Ebola. There's obviously Ebola cases, they're covering it up. There's giant weather modification, they're covering it up. There's just, who knows what else is going on. Caller, I appreciate your point. Anything else?
No, that's it, except for, I think, maybe future false flags involving Asia, like North Korea.
When did you send the article, or send it again to showtips@infowars.com? I want to see what you talked about. Thank you so much, Indigo Kid. Let's talk to Ron in Hawaii. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with everything these guys say. They're doing a full blast. They're not even slowing down at all. From the Ebola to the staged, thing over there from Missouri. And over here in Hawaii, they got at least 20,000 immigrants that showed up over here. Hello?
Yes, sir. You're on the air. Go ahead.
And they just keep going on and on and on. And what it calls the marijuana thing, if that guy's in it, like you said, I'm with you. If he wants it, there's a reason. It's got to be genetic pot.
Well, you're right. They've been manipulating the marijuana genetically, and who knows what they're putting in it. Another great point. That's the thing. When you got 7.5 billion people, and you got mainstream media deceiving folks, it doesn't matter if they're discredited, because they can still just put out disinfo to where we don't know what's really going on. That's why police are being trained that a citizen with a camera is the biggest enemy, because that video or audio they get can then discredit what the establishment says. That's why when I first told people about 6-7 years ago that all the new iPhones coming out and Droids would soon have kill switches in them where they hit one button citywide or countywide or in a certain square block area, it's whatever area they want, none of your video cameras will work. None of your internet will work. They can shut you off. This is the type of stuff being built into the grid. Guys, going to Joe and Doug, what do you think about Obama's call for taking over the internet to protect it? I'm for net neutrality, but Obama's run by the very same corporations that want to get rid of it. He admits he wants to tax it and control it, and so by claiming they want to protect the web, that's how they can destroy the web.
Well, exactly. Let me just speak at one thing that your last caller said. Alex, if there's nothing else anyone could take away from what we're talking about today, please, everyone, buy a dash cam, a self-contained dash cam. Record everything that goes on every time you're in your car. Okay, back to your question now. Joe, go ahead. The net neutrality.
Yeah, the net neutrality is what they want to do is control the content. It's not so much the worrying about who's using how much broadband or how much percentage of the internet's being used by. In this example, Netflix gets 36% of the internet traffic, yet they pay same rates as people who use 0.5%. It's not about that, as they state. They want to control the content of what is being distributed on the internet, because it is like the it's the Wild West.
That's right.
The only thing we have left with any semblance of freedom and non-censorship, except for the fact that they're finding ways now, and you've been a victim of this, and we have too, of the search engines from Google to AOL, all these different internet companies that suppress through their search functions and filters. So when people search for you or a topic you've covered, it gets suppressed and it does not appear as it should at the top of the page, or doesn't appear at all under the news feed or under certain areas. And that's just one way. They suppress numbers, and it's never ending.
And again, they're wargaming how to fight the people right now. That's why it's important that everyone out there listening get involved immediately in having your own little media operation, putting out what you think, shooting videos, showing folks what you've seen, so that they can't suppress billions of people. They can't suppress hundreds of millions of people in the U.S. If we all start putting out our common sense, their attempt at the background noise of fraud and disinfo will basically implode. Let's go ahead and go to Barbara in Illinois. Barbara, you're on the air.
Yes, hello. I feel that there's a rumbling of the people are like waking up. And I think that also the military has not had enough of this president. And I think somehow I'm the one who thought there'd be a coup. But I also feel there might be even an assassination attempt on the president. Because I think there's enough angry, there's just such anger out there now.
Well, by the way, oh my gosh, well, Obama was unpopular until he was assassinated. God forbid the last thing we would ever want would be for Obama to get assassinated, because then he could be turned into a martyr, and then they could lionize all the horrible things they've done in his name, and then say that you want to kill somebody if you're against Obamacare or against turning your guns in. In fact, I've been saying this for 6 years. The real false flag could be an assassination of Obama, or it could be an attempted assassination. But don't think that even though he's their Harvard minion and their golden, idol, don't think that the globalists wouldn't be above assassinating him to create a martyred deity out of him. Doug Hagman, Joe Hagman, your take on that statement.
Go back, Alex, go back to the funeral of Nelson Mandela. Tell us, I mean, that guy, that fake
sign language interpreter.
Yeah, that guy. Okay, was feet from world leaders, including Obama. Recently, the two jumpers over the fence, one guy getting into the West Wing of the White House. Explain how that happens. Maybe that's just a message out there. I don't know. We were looking at this because, in fact, we were talking to a Secret Service agent who said, it almost looked as if they wanted this to happen. In fact, the Secret Service agent, President Protection Detail, formerly under Bush, W. Bush, is saying that, look, this is also a theater. Perhaps there is a message being sent. Keep to our game plan, keep to the script, or you're expendable. Joe?
Yeah, I pray for the president and his safety, because you want to see a Ferguson in every city USA.
Yeah, that's right.
And that happens. That's what it will look like. And as you said, they will turn him into a martyr. And regardless of that, I don't even know if we get to the point where there would be able to be written history by people in the U.S. because of the chaos that would create. Absolutely. We're headed there anyway. We don't want to accelerate that process. And his safety is something that people need to be praying for, because just like an EMP attack that could happen from a country launching an attack, or the sun having a flare, that will stop society dead in its tracks, all the progress we've made, good or bad, and create chaos instantly.
Ramon in Florida, thanks for holding.
What's going on, brother and gentlemen? It's been a while since we've spoken, but the question you were asking earlier is what's going to be the top story of 2015, and in my opinion, it's going to be that some libertarian grassroots candidate is going to come kick the butt out of every other Democratic and Republican, operative that the system is going to throw at us, because since 2007, there's been a growth in the underground and people that's been understanding what's going on and what we need to do to affect change. So I believe that's going to be the biggest story. I
agree, and that's why they want to start racial division in the country by hyping it up, hoping that people don't come together for liberty.
Absolutely, man. Me and my boy Crip Ferran Paul have been traveling up and down the East Coast to different libertarian-minded events and freedom events, man. And everywhere we go, in every city, everywhere we've gone, people all feel the same way. They feel the change, and they know something's coming, man.
Very interesting points. God bless you, Ramon. Anything else?
Nah, other than the fact that you guys, the Hagmans, all you guys have been doing great work. You know what I'm saying? We're out here supporting you and doing our thing. You know, we got our own show now, the Revolutionary Cuss Show. We're trying to bring, you know, people from the ghettos of America into this movement because they need somebody to look up to and somebody to show them that it's not just white America or people with, you know, middle incomes, middle class incomes that need to be a part of this movement. Everybody needs to be a part of it.
Well, that's right. We need Hispanic leaders that speak Spanish to reach out as well, because everybody wants freedom. Everybody wants to know how the game is rigged. Everybody wants the rest of the story, and it's there. All these people trying to get careers in media through the dying dinosaur. I'm telling you, folks, if you don't get involved in the COINTELPRO cognitive infiltration, infighting, you'll be successful. Let's go ahead and talk to Kevin in Canada. You're on the air. Thanks for holding.
Hey, Alex, this is your 17-year listener from Canada here. I'd like to give you a comparison along with my theory of what's going to happen. My comparison is the relationship between the United States and Canada is a lot like the Book of Mice and Men. And it really seems that America can't keep their hands off the nice and shiny things, and Canada, in turn, has to somehow come up with an excuse or somehow bail you out. I'm really wondering, instead of blaming the politicians, when is every American going to look in the mirror and realize that it's not the politicians' fault, it's not even the globalists? 5%, just like you've said before in your show. 5% is all it takes to overthrow.
That's what happened in 1776, and we're trying to have a cultural revolution of liberty. The system is set up for a physical confrontation, and we'd probably win that one as well. It's just that we're trying everything we can to try to fix this peacefully. Do you have any other comments?
Well, the other thing I'll leave you with is I heard you quote Aldous Huxley, so I figured I'd go and read one of his books. Actually, I listened to an interview on BBC in which he said that he could see a time in which people love their servitude. I think we're there.
Well, sure. We've played the clips of Huxley explaining that they were going to build this world. He wrote Brave New World in 1932, and you read it today, and it's actually coming true. Well, he said, this is our plan. He was part of a British government breeding program that was never classified with the 5 other families. Most of his siblings and people died. They were his brother went on to run the UN. I mean, these people, it's just so incredible. Thank you, Kevin. Hagman and Hagman, I'm going to skip this network break and go right to the bottom of the hour with you guys. I want to go to Chris and others that are holding, but at the bottom of the rabbit hole from your research, what's there?
What's there is the ultimate objective, of course, Alex, is the very simply a one world order, a one world financial system, one world religion, and a one world economic system. End of story. And that's what's at the as far as our research is concerned, that's what the end game objective is. And we've got to think bigger. Everyone has got to think bigger. The attack yesterday at the synagogue in Jerusalem, that's part and parcel to this in many respects. What's going on domestically and will be in Ferguson, part and parcel to it. The taking down of the U.S. dollar. None of this is happening by accident.
What about the attack on the Parliament in Ottawa? That guy looked like a total cutout as well. Again, we're not saying terrorism isn't real. The globalists are letting these people attack, and we shouldn't give our freedoms up because somebody goes and does that.
No, not at all. Not at all.
No, absolutely. And, you know, I think at the basis, I'm a Christian, and everything has been explained in the Bible, the attributes of the people, the falling away, as one of the last callers pointed out, you know, it is it's our responsibility as citizens of
humans.
Right. And as humans.
Well, you said it, at the bottom of the rat hole is Satan.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's good versus evil. And it is you know, we see they're bringing out the animal nature or human nature of man rather than uplifting them to the spirit, leading them and pointing them to the spiritual nature, which is what we are all able to be. Right. But they're pulling us down to basic animal instinct through our own human nature.
Well said. That is exactly what is at the bottom of the rabbit hole is a spirit, a system, whether you believe in spirits or not, a manifestation through human interaction, through archetypes, if you will, that wants to kill, steal, and destroy and dumb people down so it can control them. It's the ultimate form of selfishness, and it's truly disgusting. In the past decade, we have witnessed unparalleled scientific discoveries in the area of health. But no one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. DNA Force is one of the most expensive formulas to produce. Some of the ingredients in DNA Force are $12,000 a kilogram. We are using the coveted, patented, only American source of PQQ, CoQ10, and more. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? Well, we're bringing you a total win-win. The ultimate value, cutting-edge, trailblazing game changer that also supports the InfoWar. We have produced a limited run of DNA Force, and it will take up to 12 weeks to produce more once we sell out. Secure your DNA Force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. DNA Force from InfoWars Life.